We surveyed over 100 hiring managers and determined that if you polish these 3 skills, then you'll be at the top of the list for most instructional designer jobs. Stick around to find out not only what these highly desired skills are, but also to get some helpful tips on how you can sharpen these skills. Plus, one unexpected takeaway from looking at the data. Hi, I'm Robbie Christian, the Bootcamp Coordinator, and we surveyed over 100 hiring managers. We'll be posting the results later on devlinpeck.com, but I also want to provide some video insights into how you can land great instructional designer jobs faster. In this particular video, we're going to explore one question that hiring managers answered. What are the top 3 skills that you look for when hiring an instructional designer? Now, the respondents were able to answer all up to 3, their top 3. So let's just dive right in and look at the data. The first is the ability to apply ID theory and science. Next is communicate. And then finally, develop e-learning. Now, we're only going to focus on those top 3. Those are the most important ones. If you look at the percentages, the next one down, project management, only 40% of the respondents identified that in the top 3. So there are jobs out there that you can get that involve those other skills. But if you want to maximize the return on your investment in the time, effort, energy that you put into developing yourself, then focus on these 3. And so that's what we're going to do in this video. So applying ID theory and science. Let's first establish what ID theory and science is. These are frameworks, models, methods, theories, concepts. If you recognize any of those names, that's what we're talking about with ID theory and science. So what are the practical tips for developing this? Well, first we need to learn the theory. And so you can do that by watching videos on this channel. Check out an introduction to instructional design. You can see a link to that and a number of other videos I'm going to reference and are going to be helpful down in the description below this video. So watch videos on this channel to get a sense for what that theory and science is. Next, be prepared to discuss them in an interview. Don't just get a little bit familiar with them, but be able to compare and contrast. Talk in an informed way about what you would use when. So that's learning the ID theory and science, but that's not far enough. The hiring managers specifically stated that they want you to apply the ID theory. So how do we work on applying it? Well, you can look at existing courses, training modules, and see which ones were used. And so think to yourself as you're looking at these, which ones that the instructional designers must have used to create this solution. In addition to that, don't only look at existing training, but also think about problems in the world. Think about existing problems and try to determine which learning solutions would be best to solve those problems. So after learning the information and thinking to yourself how you might solve these with instructional design, it's one thing to do all of that, but we don't want to work in an echo chamber or in isolation. We want to get ideas from others. And so the last piece of the puzzle here is to ask your network what they think. So get involved in a community. We would love to have you join our community at devlinpeck.com/ID, but even if not there, connect with any community and start to share those ideas. Get some feedback with what others think. Present your ideas and ask others their thoughts on them and have a little bit of a sounding board within that community. So that's how to learn, to study, and to apply and get some feedback on the ID theory and science and how to use it to solve real-world problems. So the next skill is communication. And we're looking at written and verbal communication, but not just teaching. I also want to bring some attention to conversational communication. Some of the hiring managers in the survey indicated it's very important to them that there's a fit within the culture of the team. And so much of that, they said, comes from communicating with the team. And so we really want to work on not only our ability to give lessons virtually, e-learning, in person, anything, give lessons and teach, we also want to be able to communicate with the team that we're going to be a part of. So what are the practical tips to work on that? Well, for writing, we want to get a grammar checking software. I was very humbled when I first got one. I thought that my grammar was fine, but I was very surprised of how much not only the spelling and just like the commas that it would suggest, but also the tone and the phrasing and the sentence structure. There's a lot out there. And if you want to be a professional in the industry, then use professional software to help build the skills that you already have. Use the tools at your disposal to elevate the work that you're able to put out there. So use grammar checking software. Next, for verbal communication, give practice presentations. And not just in front of a mirror, do it also in front of a webcam and record yourself. Watch those videos back with a very critical eye. Don't just watch them to watch them. Actually think about what you would change, what you should do differently, what you liked, what you didn't like. So give those practice presentations and then review them yourself. In addition to that, get involved with a community. Work on your conversation, network, and talk to instructional designers. It's all about networking. It's all about connecting with people. Find instructional designers that are in the field and just network with them. Have conversations. Build that communication. So in the third skill, moving on to the third skill, learning development. When we're looking at the data, 75% of the respondents indicated that Storyline is the developer's tool of choice. Then below that are some others. We can dive into that in a later video, but this is what we're looking at in the hiring landscape right now. Storyline has the market share. So we're going to focus on Storyline. So practical tips on learning Storyline is to first watch videos on this channel. You can take a look at getting started with Storyline. That's a workshop that sort of has a start to finish. It gives a lot of resources. Storyline 360 tutorials. It's a playlist that has a step-by-step guide to help learn the features that Storyline has to offer. There are a bunch of different resources out there that are on this channel. And so in addition to that, recreate your favorite e-learning modules. Anything that you have ever seen before, sit down with Storyline and try to create some of those. And if you don't have any favorites, if nothing, no inspiration sparks, then go to devlinpack.com/showcase and you can see some portfolios of former boot campers that have gone on to land great jobs. You can look at those portfolios and you can start mimicking and recreating some of those interactions and some of those projects. And don't just recreate something exactly as it is, but then also go a little bit beyond that and create it with your own personal flair and start to get familiar with what your individual style is. And in addition to that, don't just create it for yourself. Also share it with your network, share it with others, and get feedback. There's something magical that happens when you give and receive feedback. It's not just about being a consumer of feedback. When you give feedback to others within your network, it helps you develop your own eye and your own taste for what it is that you like as a developer. And so when you do that, everyone wins. People are getting feedback, giving feedback. Everyone is developing their skills and moving into sort of elevating the whole industry. So get connected with a network. And if you haven't guessed already, I alluded to one unexpected takeaway. There's been a theme developing from all of these practical tips, and that is to network. And again, you're welcome to go to devlinpack.com/ID and join part of our network, become part of our network. But if you don't, that's okay. Just get involved with instructional designers. Talk to people, connect with people, share ideas, share thoughts, and get into the industry in that way. Network. So those are the most desired skills. As you can see, again, we only went through the top 3 because by focusing your efforts on those three, that is the way to focus your time, energy, effort to get that highest quality instructional designer position the fastest way possible. So that's what we want to do. Now, we also want to subscribe, because in the next video, we're going to be looking at the skills that hiring managers think the instructional designers are lacking. And there are some surprises in that video that are a little bit different than you saw in this video. So subscribe to the channel and stick around, because I would love to see you in the next video when we're diving into that and much more. So I will see you there. Bye.